Morning, students. Earlier, we have discussed the lesson number 10, that is the rise of a small kingdom in North India. Again, we are going to revise it. The name of the lesson is The Rise of a Small Kingdom in North India. That time, there were three different kingdoms. They were Rashtrakutas, the Palas, the Pratiharas, and the Rajputs. And this period is also known as the age of three empires, that they were the Rashtrakutas, the Palas, the Pratiharas, and the Rajputs. And this period is known as the age of three empires. The Rashtrakuta took over the control in north part of Deccan, the Palas in eastern India, and the Pratiharas in Avanti. Now it is in the southern Rajasthan and some parts of Gujarat. The three main kingdoms, though continuously engaged in wars, were successful in providing stable administration which helped in the progress of art and literature. Let us study them one by one. First of all, Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakutas established the most powerful empire in northern Deccan in 753 CE. They became the masters of a large area of the present Gujarat, MP, that means Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. The Rashtrakuta established the most powerful empire that time, and Danti Durga is considered to be the real founder of the Rashtrakuta Empire. Govind III and Amogh Varsha were the well-known Rashtrakutas king. The Rashtrakutas were great warrior, art lover, and scholars. They took up titles like Chakravarti, Maharajadhiraj, and Parambhatarak. They maintained huge armies and encouraged trade for the prosperity of the people. Rashtrakutas followed Jainism but also patronized Buddhism. Hindus and Muslims also. Rashtrakuta rulers were great patron of art and learning. Their rule saw the flourishing of religious literature, rock cut temples of Ellora, you may see in this picture, belonging to Hindus. Buddhist and Jain sects are a proof of the religious tolerance of Rashtrakutas. King Amogh Varsha himself was a great lover of Sanskrit. Now we know about the Palas dynasty. Actually, very limited information is available about the history of Bengal for the period between the death of Harsha and the ascending of Palas. But it is well known that during this time Bengal faced a lot of infighting among the small kingdoms. The people of Bengal elected Gopal as their king to maintain peace and order. He set up empire which ruled over about 400 years. His successor used Palas after their name, and hence their empire came to be known as Pala dynasty. Dharampala was the greatest ruler of Pala dynasty. He set up a center for Buddhist education which was known as Vikramshil Vihar. His son Devpal extended the Pala empire and also defeated the Huns. The end of this period ushered in the decline of Palas. Now Pratiharas. They are also called Gurjar Pratiharas, probably because they originated from Gujarat. The greatest ruler of this dynasty was Mihir Bhoj. They ruled over Gujarat and southwestern Rajasthan. The founder of the Pratiharas empire was Nagbhat I. The greatest ruler of this dynasty was Mihir Bhoj, just I was telling you. He conquered Kannauj around 836. The continuous battle weakened the Pratihara Empire and it broke into a number of smaller kingdoms. The Pratiharas were great warriors. They fought many battles with the Palas and the Rashtrakutas. The Pratihara kings were also great patron of art and literature. King Mihir Bhoj himself was a well-known scholar. Regional languages developed at a fast rate under Pratihara rule. During this became popular in eastern India. Now Rajputs. Around 9th century CE, the whole of North India had become a patchwork of small kingdoms as the power of the Rashtrakutas, the Palas, and the Pratiharas ended almost simultaneously. During the 10th century CE, three important developments took place in medieval India. Firstly, North India came in close contact with Western and Central Asia. Secondly, most of the kingdom came under the rule of Rajputs who were constantly at war with one another. Finally, the continuous wars created political instability, which was the major cause of the beginning of Turkish invasion in North India. The Rajput played an important role in medieval India. They were famous for their bravery. There is no clarity about the origin of the Rajput. The word Rajput means son of Raja. But all the Rajputs do not belong to the royal families. Many Rajput families trace their origin to sun or moon and thus they were known as either Suryavanshi and Chandravanshi respectively. Some historians believe that the Rajput are the descendants of foreign tribes who had settled in India. It is also believed that the main four clans of Rajput were born from fire altars, hence, they are also known as Agnikulas. They are Parmars, Pratiharas, Chauhans, and Chalukyas. There were about 36 clans of Rajputs. The struggle for supremacy and constant infighting created disunity and enmity among the Rajputs. This attracted the Muslim invasions in India. The Rajput failed to join hands with each other to defend India from the Arab invasion. Now, governance in North India. Administration. The king was all powerful in North India. He was assisted by different officials. The empire was divided into provinces. The king was the head of the military as well as the judiciary. The king spent huge amounts of money on building up strong armies. Now, economy. There was a great economic disparity among different social classes. The royal family, high officials, and the traders were prosperous. The people living in villages were poor. The temples were the center of riches and hence attracted a lot of invasions. Feudal system was prevalent in North India. The kings granted land as reward to officers who came to be known as Thakurs or Rayas. They provided military assistance to the king at time of war. The feudal system led to the decline of many empires as the feudal lords gave only a small part of the land revenue to the kings. This weakened the power of the kings. Moreover, many feudal lords like Chauhans and Parmars became powerful and established independent empire. Now society. The rigid caste system led to the division of Indian society. The king, the feudal lords, and the Brahmins in high position enjoyed a life of luxury. Land was cultivated mainly by Sudras who were burdened by taxes and social discrimination. The condition of women was quite miserable. They were deprived of education. The evil practices of sati, child marriage, and polygamy contributed to the decline in status of women. Now, education. Superstitions and narrow mindedness were a great hurdle to education. The elementary education was limited to temple and monasteries. The universities of Nalanda and Vikramshil became important center of higher education. You may see the picture that is given in the slide. The study of philosophy and religion was encouraged, but subjects like mathematics and science were ignored. The regional languages like Marathi, Gujarati, and Bengali developed at as they were the languages in which the Bhakti saints preached and composed songs. But Sanskrit enjoyed a place of prominence. Pali and Prakrit languages were used for writings, books on Buddhism and Jainism. Now, trade. India developed trade relations with the countries of the East, Southeast, West, and Central Asia and the European countries. This brought Indians into close contact with the developments in other countries. The common features in the political, social, and cultural life in different parts brought the people of India closer. Okay, students.